Hello, everybody. This is our unusual but Friday evening, our Friday evening Art Quilt live stream. So, hello. I'm sorry I couldn't be on here last night. I know that I've been just a little stressed of late, and I went to the dentist. I hadn't been since before COVID. And so I was curious, what they would say. And she said, well, have any of your teeth been bothering you? And I said, yes. And so she looked at it and said, oh, that is bruised. Luckily, they did an x-ray. Nothing was broken in that tooth. But up above it, sadly, I had cracked some fillings, and I cracked some fillings, and I cracked a tooth. So, hi, Jody. It is really not good to clench your jaw or grind your teeth when you're sleeping. So now I'm waiting to get some new mouth guards in, which hopefully will keep me from damaging my teeth further. And, it's always so funny. I was clenching my jaw during the day. But anyway, after I went to the dentist and they cleaned and everything, and as the afternoon wore on, I felt that bruised tooth starting to act up. And when it gets hurting, nothing stops the pain. So I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this tonight and come on and look all happy when this tooth is killing me. So anyway, sorry I had to put it off. But hopefully you can hear me and see me, and I'll show you what I've gotten done so far, because I'm trying to finish up the Misty Woodlands. This is going to be the last evening that I feature it, but I will show it to you once I've quilted it and finished the thread painting and all of that. But I think I've done quite a lot of work on it. And I had Mark came down earlier, and I had some new branches put on, and he said, I don't like that you're putting the heavy dark branches on, and it's taking away, hi y'all, it's taking away from your magic light sunlit area. And I saw what he meant. It kind of stopped your eye. So I went in there with my scissors and I started clipping. And I tried to make everything a lot more feathery. Okay? So I've added a lot more branches and things to kind of fill it in. But I worked very hard to make them very light and feathery. And now I'm going in with thread and I'm stitching things down. Normally, when I've done art quilts, I stitch everything down with clear monopoly. But I'm not doing that this time. Normally, my favorite is this one, which is, let me turn it around, Superior Threads monopoly, really good stuff. But I said, I want to use the thread to differentiate, to kind of give it, let me see if I can show you, to give it a little action going on, because if you look into the woods, it's not just color, there are branches and different kind of leaves. Hi, Sharon, you're all the way from New Zealand. Welcome. New Zealand is so pretty. I tell you, talk about gardens and things. But you'll see where I've started the thread painting now. And that is just to try to give some definition to all these areas of green. And in fact, I'll show you on the back. Now, when I do my thread painting, I use gray thread on the back. And you see I had a little tension problem for a while, but I finally got that fixed. Remember when you put on your new spool of thread to have the presser foot up so that the thread gets in the tension discs, and then put the presser foot down. But anyway, I just thought I would show you that I did a lot of work. And what I'm doing is I went in with black, then I did a very, very dark green, and then I'm going, now a medium green is on there, then I've got a lighter green, and then I'm going to get to chartreuse looking stuff. And I'm kind of going in and stitching the edge. In fact, let me show you what I did for the bark of the tree. I came in with stitches, and see how I did that stitching to kind of emphasize the bark. So let me see if I can show you up here too. So I did that with thread painting. I'm accentuating the bark. But I'll show it to you one more time. I think I'm done adding fabric. And now it's just a matter of continuing to thread paint and little things like the light side of the tree. I noticed in my in the inspiration images, I noticed that the edges of the tree closest to the light area kind of had that light look right on the edge. So when I get to chartreuse, I'm going to run it down the trees on the side that would be next to the sunlit. So I think I've gone in and done a little bit of work darkening this, lightening up here. What else did I do? I put a little more paint on the sun rays coming through. I added some branches over here where the sun rays came through. I might end up having to darken a few of these because it just doesn't look the way I wanted it to. But I think for the most part, this one's going to be finished. And I'm going to do, I'll show you when I'm done, I'm going to do what I always like to do with my art quilts. And that is I'm going to put what looks like a mat on it and then a frame. And that's going to be done with fabric because I like them to have the picture frame edge. But I like this one. And actually, if I finish it and it continues to come out like it's doing, this might be one that I want to enter in a show. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I tell you what, I want to thank all of you because doing this show and pushing myself and trying to give you the best experience and helps push me to do better. And this time I told you it was going to be very important for me to try to use fabric first to create distance, depth, to create this illusion, the illusion of 3-dimension. And I really do feel like it works. It draws you in and makes you want to go find what that opening is like. So there it is. And when I do not trim up the edges until I finish thread painting. And so then once hello, look at everyone. I'm so tickled you're here because I didn't know who was going to show up. So I'm excited because we're going to talk about what to do for the new project. And this is going to be a project that we work on that's really only going to take 2 Thursday nights. It's supposed to be simple, dramatic, and fun. Okay? Now I'm going to go to the photos to show you you know what? I forgot to go back and look and see if I could find them again. But another thing I'm going to do with this quilt, once I'm done with the thread painting, I'm going to take some fine permanent markers and try to do some definition, give it a little bit of pop. Because I have found that, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to use dark thread. Everywhere I could, I wanted to outline in the dark thread. But then I'll go back over it with this just to give it a little more sharpness. And I still have yet to use much of my ink tints. So I've got those right here. And you know what? I use these up pretty good. I mean, look at some of these. So the good thing is, if you go to Dick Blick art store, I believe it's Dick Blick, he will sell these individually. So there are some you'll use a lot more, like white. I use that tons. But when you use the ones you use a lot more, you can go and buy individually. But do know they're more expensive when you buy them singly than in a set. But when you don't want to buy a whole new set, then there we go. All right, what happened? Oh, sweetheart. Oh, I'm sorry you lost your mama. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm so sorry. Well, you know what? I'm glad that gives you peace, because that's what I wanted it to do. So look at everyone. Betty is here. Ah, the dollar store sells mouth guards. Okay, I found my old one, which I don't like because it's big and clunky. But I've got some placards. Have you heard of those? They are disposable mouth guards. And I'm going to try those until I figure. The dentist said, oh, we'll fit you for a mouth guard. My dental insurance doesn't, well, it covers just barely a little bit. But it was going to be $400 and some before insurance and $3 something with insurance. And I was like, I don't think so. So dollar store sells mouth guards. That's good. So what are my dogs doing? They're playing. Oh, I've got one side of the border done on here, but it's not on it yet. I want to sit and play with that, but I keep having other things get in the way, like life. What is that about? So let's see. Jody was the first person here. I'm so excited. Wait till you see. She got a new friend, a brand new baby friend. What is it? Let's see. So Diane 57, hello there. And look at this. This is so good. Hi, Laura R. Now I'm going to forget what the R stands for. It was so funny because at first I kept saying the R, but Linda Ramos, hi, sweetie. And I'm tickled to see Sharon Cruikshank all the way from New Zealand, the Kiwis country. And do you know New Zealand's made up of like 900 islands? I had no idea. So that's wonderful. Whispering Cauldron. That's interesting. I like that mysterious name. Kathleen Champ. And Linda McCollum is here. Yay. So I'm very excited to see all of you here. Polly, hi, sweetie. Polly, I'll hold it up and show you. I think I'm about done. Oh, wait till you see Polly's. She did a great job of getting that translucent faraway look. So, oh, this is your first time. Well, hi. Hi, Carol. I like your moniker. That's pretty cool. So I wanted to show Polly, but wait till you see hers. It is lovely. So anyway, but I was showing them that by doing the fine cutting of the branches, when I was first putting some of the pieces on, Mark said it stops your eye from the sunlit part. So I went in. I had already tried to trim them as lacy as possible. I went back in and did it all over again. I wanted to leave them there because they show the foreground and the lighted area. It emphasizes it's in the background. So I'm really happy with it. And now we're going to go. Let me find first. I have to find the folder of what we're going to do next. So let me go find it. Okay, now what was it going to be? Where did I put it? Give me just a moment. I will find it, I promise. I hate when I totally forgot to do this beforehand. Let me see. Maybe I put it in live stream ideas. Maybe I put it in Art Quilt Thursday. We've done some cool things. I love looking back on them, but now I got to stick to what we need to do. Okay. I don't see it. I put a bunch of great photos in, and let me see if I can find them. One second. Well, I hate when I do this, guys. You can tell that I have been just a little stressed of late. Let me go under Deb and see if I put it in there. So, yes, I found them. Okay, so are you ready? Let me turn out the light and let's go. Now, these are going to be all different kinds of shots. And I'm going to talk to you while you're looking at them to kind of let you know what I'm thinking of, okay? So here we go. What I'm thinking of is a quick exercise in creating drama, okay? Now let me see if I can do a slideshow. All right. What I want it to be is a little bit barren, like a tree, the ground, and a background. And I'd like to move the tree to the edge, or this. I don't want to get in Susan's way, but I was trying to think of what could be. Oh, hold on. Let me stop this a minute. They're going by too fast. Hold on. Okay, hold on. What I want you to do is to find whatever your subject is and push it over to one of the sides. And have this edge of the little art quilt cut around the shape. So I want it to be three main things: the ground, the sky, and something object of interest. Like this would be great if it were pushed over here and the edge of the quilt followed the shape of the tree. Look at this with the dark ground because it's Hawaii and that's volcanic soil. Look at these roots. Aren't they awesome? Now look at that tree, the water, and the ground. Isn't that cool? And what I mean by a live edge is just put your subject close enough to an edge. The top would be hard to hang it, but the side or the bottom so that you can follow that edge. And look at the sky. I want a very dramatic sky or dramatic water. And I don't want you doing a lot of work. Look at this. I typed in and looked for bleak or stark. This moved over with the sky. I want you to paint your sky background if you want, or find a fabric that's really dramatic, but we're not going to do anything in detail. We're going to let the fabric, whatever painting or whatever you do to it, and the ground. I don't want this. This is going to be an exercise of simplicity. Okay? And I want it to be about the size of a piece of paper. I don't think we should, unless you really want to do it a little bit bigger. But then I thought, ooh, look at the Stonehenge. I just want it to be, look at this. Isn't that something? But remember, I want your object or the clouds or the wood or whatever it is to have you create an edge that goes with the shape of your focus. Okay? These are just to give you an idea and then see what fabric you can find. You could even use crayons. Let's say you don't have ink tints or fabric paints. Use crayons. Use regular colored pencils. and make something dramatic. That was dramatic just because it was so stark. But some of these, that's too much background. But I just love, like, look at the colors here. That's what I love about that. Look at this one. So think about what odd fabrics you have. Now, this is a watercolor someone did, but I thought that's cool. But what kind of unusual fabrics that could give you a dramatic sky or dramatic water or dramatic ground? And I want it to be dramatic. I want to look at that and go, oh, wow. Now look at this. Isn't that cool? So I was hoping that I'll put these images up on our Groups IO website. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? But I just thought, I was hoping this would give you some ideas. And I want basically three things: the whatever, the water or land, the sky, and a solitary object. Solitary, like one tree. Don't put more than one. But isn't that dramatic? So I'm hoping you can come up with something. I want it to be pretty simple, and I want to let the fabric do the work for you. Whether you paint it, look at that. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Whether you paint it, whether you find some really unusual fabric that's dramatic, and it doesn't have to be totally realistic. It just has to be dramatic. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now that's a lot of branches. That's more than I'd want to put in. But look at some of these. Just what can you find? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Maybe you could have a blue fabric and have some of the other that you just cut and simply squeeze in there. But I want it to be dramatic and kind of stark and make you kind of stop and look. And small, if you can make, but you don't have to make it small. But I was thinking this time it would just make it easier. I put some skies in so that you could kind of be thinking, what could you come up with all the ombre fabrics people have? And like I said, if you don't have paint or ink tints, use crayons, use colored pencils, whatever you got handy. Look at that. These are some great ideas of skies. We're almost going to be back to the beginning. I love the ground. I love the different colors. Like the ground doesn't have to be green. It could be the color of winter wheat ready to harvest. And these are mainly for skies. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So get creative. Think outside the box. I just love this little castle thing just sitting out there. And the reason I want to keep this simple for you is so that you look at it, you step back and look at it with a different eye. And it doesn't have to be something that like this. This Misty Woodlands took a long time. I want this one to be much simpler, much easier. Yeah, we're back to the beginning now. Let me see. I think I might have skipped over a couple of these, so let me see. Look at that. Does that say stark, little bit lonely, dramatic? Or you don't have to look at it as sad. It could be something that has potential or something that is surviving no matter what. So I really, really got excited when I saw a piece of work that reminded me of this. And I love that. That is just so absolutely dramatic. Even something like this, look at that. But you'd have to find fabric that had some pattern to remind you of that, because otherwise it would drive you nuts to do it. All right, I think that we've seen, let me see. Yeah, I think we've seen all. Yep. Okay, now while we're here, let me close this down. Let me see. Push escape, Deb. Let me see some things that you've been working on since we're right here. And remember your questions. We'll come back and talk about it. But while we're here, look at the card, the fabric card that Bee made for her husband. Isn't that sweet? And I love her theme because her name is Bee. That is so cute. I love that. What a sweet thing for her to make for him. Okay, Miss Betty has some new things in here. Let me see. I love her kitties. Her kitty and her, oh, it's a dog. Her kitty and her dog on her Hunter Star quilt. That's cool. And look at what she's been working on. I'm so excited to see this. Isn't that neat? Now, the only thing I would say is be careful that this, well, I guess the sunlight could come through here. This is her dark foreground, so at first I worried. But, you know, sunlight can peek in from many different angles. So never mind. You go ahead and do just what you want. Oh, here's another one of it. Look at this. Very, very good. Very, very nice. All right. And then look at this. Isn't that precious? And I love the jewels to look like the bubbles. That is wonderful. I see a seahorse down here. That is wonderful. Way to go, Miss Betty. And thank you to those of you who sent new, fresh pictures. I appreciate it. Like Miss Charlene Lawson sent in the pieces to put together of her kaleidoscope quilt. Yay! Now let's see what else we have. Charlene Pfeiffer sent in this landscape. And I love that Santa. I think that's an art quilt. Sure. Yeah. All right. Let's go back and see who is next. Let me see. I think, no, I don't think, oh, wait a minute. You know what? I did have some new photos. I'll show you Sunday. My little grandson, turned a year old. So I will show you his photos Sunday. And then here are some new photos from Dolores. She's been extremely busy getting ready for her art fairs. She sold out of everything, had to come home and rush to make new. And they are beautiful. So way to go, Miss Dolores. We're so happy for you. Continue the good work on the art fairs. That is wonderful. Okay, Miss Jody, are you ready? Okay, you know she also does huge, colossal, king-size churn dash besides her very wonderful monster collection. And, whoops, I wasn't supposed to show you that yet. And her creature of the Black Lagoon. But I want to introduce you to her Wanda. Isn't this wonderful? She got a great deal from her neighbor across the street, and who's going with a long arm, movable long arm. But now she is going to have such fun. I'm so excited for her. So welcome to the group, Wanda. I can't wait to see what Wanda can do. So let's see. Linda McCollum. Oh, I love her. I know I shouldn't keep showing them. We've showed them a couple times, but they're so wonderful. Look at these wonderful boho beads. Look at the birds. I love her felted mice. Aren't they precious? And that one, of course, is my favorite. And look at these. Aren't they wonderful? So I love creating. I think you're doing a fabulous job. And nope, these are the, let me see. I'm looking for some new ones that you've worked on. Miss Nadine did send me some send the group some new ones. So let's look at this baby. Once Upon a Dream. Look at this card about, I guess it was for one of her friends or coworkers. I'm trying to remember who's going to have a baby. That is so beautiful. Way to go, Miss Nadine. And what a beautiful gift to receive. And this, oh, I love this. And these are her, she does stamp, background painting, adorning, embellishing. Aren't they great? Okay, she is such a wonderful artist. Okay, now I thought I had more, but they were just duplicates. So now let's see. Yep, okay, hold on. Here we go. Be ready. Are you ready? Okay, here is Miss Polly's quilt in the works. And there is her inspiration piece. And I was so excited for her. Now, are you ready? Here is her completed Misty Woodland landscape. I love it. She did a wonderful fall view. I think she's as tired as we are by this hot weather. Isn't that wonderful? Way to go, Miss Polly. And you know what I love? She gets in there, works on it, finishes it. Isn't that, I tell you what, a finish wins every time. All right, let's see. I think just one last, and that will be, because we show the art quilts here. And Miss Teresa Louise, I love this. So there we go. All right, now let's come back and talk about this new project. And, oh, bright light, bright light. Okay, let me come back to y'all, get off the pictures here, and come back to y'all. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw up a couple patterns for any of you who find it just a little intimidating to do your own pattern. And because the main thing is to practice and to work with color and fabric and ideas and designs. And so I can work up a couple patterns and I will put them on our site. And anybody who wants a pattern, all you have to do is drop me our time to quilt at twc.com and I will send you the pattern. So it'll probably be a smaller pattern and I'll work up a couple of those. Oh, I know. Isn't Teresa's dog just amazing? But do you have any questions about what we're thinking of doing for this project? And be creative. I mean, I'm thinking finding fabric that looks really unusual, making some of my own. And the nice thing is if you want to do them as small as a piece of paper, then you're not spending too much time. I would, but you know what? If it depends on what you have time for. So I am trying to finish everything I start. I know, new concept for me, but I love being able to display them. And I don't really like just hanging up floppies, as they call them. I want them to be finished works. So I'm going to finish mine, and you can just finish it very simply. In fact, I think it was Jody who finished them one time just by couching yarn around the edge. So, but it's not considered a quilt unless it has 3 layers that you've sewn through. So, how to do a binding on a live edge? That is the question. And you know what? If you want to do satin edge stitching on the edge, or you'd have to use the bias binding. That's a good question. I'm trying to think. The first one I saw, how was the edge finish? I don't know. But it's just simply for us. So if the finish is just going to be to sew around the edge and trim it, But if you're going to like put it in a show, I would try to do some kind of binding. And you just never know. Some of these things turn out better than we think. So you know how to do bias binding. You just take your square of fabric and cut lines at a 45-degree angle. And that way you're going with the stretch. So the binding will go around curves so easily. So there is a way you can do continuous bias strip binding. You can look that up. A lot of good tutorials out there. Or you can just get a square, cut, make your first 45-degree angle, and then cut them. I would use small binding if you're going to go around curves. Normally I cut my binding 2.5 inches because I don't like to be crowded. And but for this, I think 2 to 2.25 is all the bigger I'd make it, because you have to fold it in half, stitch it on, fold it over, and hand stitch. All right, let's see. Get my glasses on. And so far, I just want, anybody can do a rectangular quilt, but when I saw a quilt where the edge, and in this one, you're going to do a small binding, and I would even do a binding that matches the background-ish, kind of. I don't want your eyes to kind of stop too rigidly. So try to pick a color of binding that kind of just isn't that noticeable. But when I saw that edge that mimicked it was just one part of one side that mimicked the pattern, I went, oh, that's cool. And it's just a little something different. And one of the things the reason I like doing these Art Quilt Thursdays is to kind of get us, all of us, out of our comfort zone, out of the point A to point B, and yeah, the fastest way to travel is a straight point between, the straight line between 2 points, but that's boring. I want us to just go all around. And do you remember the Family Circus cartoons where the little boy, they said, bring us such and such, and he would end up going all around the neighborhood before he got there to give it to him? That's what I want us to do. Any other questions that you might have? So I tell you what, while we're talking, I have some scrap paper, and what I'm going to want to do is to kind of do a drawing for you. And because I would have liked to have had this done before, but I didn't. But, okay. I might do it this way. But let's say one of those trees, and for whatever reason, I tend to want to go this way with it. And let's say the branches come all out like this, and the trunk and the roots are kind of becoming exposed like this. And what I want you to do is on this one, I want whatever shape the branches are, I want that to dictate the edge. And maybe it doesn't even have to come in this far, but just something, I think I'm going to mimic this. There we go. I think I'm going to mimic this all the way around. But you can decide how much you're going to mimic, okay? Let me get something darker to do this line, because I'm just realizing it's hard for you to see. So here we're going to have, and this will be sky. So maybe there'll be some clouds, or maybe there'll be a sunset. And here is going to be this tree, this old gnarly tree whose roots are kind of spread out here. It's kind of lost its footing in the ground, and so it died. And here come the branches. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? I can send you a pattern. I'm going to work out an idea for a pattern. Let me put this one here. Okay. I'm trying to think of what else did we see? We saw like a Stonehenge, okay, type thing, a rock formation. And it could be a very, and so then what you would do here is cut this out like this. Like this. So it could be one of those stone, and you've got sky and that bleak land. Like this actually could kind of, the land could fall off like that. Let me see. Now, I'm not trying to get in the way of Susan's going to do a lighthouse, but I was thinking of bleak, and so it could be something like this craggy piece of land comes down, and the water, and just some structure, just to have something that's very dramatic, like this, and then the sky would be all of this, and the lines, and maybe a sunset, and so, let me see. I don't know what I have to look at a lighthouse to draw a good photo of it. But so here and what you could do is your edge could mimic the other side. See, this edge mimics this. So you could do something like that. And, oh gosh, one of them, oh, I know what one of them was. It was a palm tree. And what I loved, it was on a Hawaiian beach. Whoops. I put the trunk. The trunk is a little too wide here. Here we go. I forgot palm trees are kind of, okay. All right, so here's the palm tree and the ocean and that nice black sand. And then your live edge could start right around here. Your live edge can be on the top, but then I thought, well, how in the world could you hang it if the live edge is on top? And I invented that word for this kind of project because I'm so used to watching home improvement shows where they do live edge furniture. So I was like, oh, okay. So, and hold on a second. And this edge over here, you know how palm trees have very jaggedy bark? So this edge could show the jaggedy bark of a palm tree. So it's just going to be simple. Does that make any sense? And you can just follow the shape. But just find something. I know what. I just thought of something. This would be really cool, okay? Just thought of something. All right. Let's say you're out west. How about a saguaro cactus? A saguaro cactus out on the desert. So then this would be where you cut around this shape. Now I'm trying to do this. A lot of people are so busy, whether you're working outside the home or whether you're got a lot of projects. So what I'm trying to do is make this simple, and you can do a better cactus than this. I'm just doing it real fast, trying to think of ideas of things that it could be an old car sitting in the desert, a rusted out old car. You know, just try to figure out. Oh, you're having a bad day? What happened, sweetie? Uh-oh. I'm thinking keep it small because that makes it easier. So I'm thinking roughly the size of a sheet of paper, whatever size you're comfortable with, but I'm thinking keep it easy, keep it simple, just an exercise, and it doesn't, your sky could be purples and yellows. It can be whatever you envision it to be, okay? I'm sorry Miss Laura's having a bad day. Do you understand? Okay, good. And it's just about an exercise in just 3 objects because we went from doing something so intense. I mean, there are hundreds of pieces of fabric on this. And so I said, you know what? Let's do something very stark, very simple. 3 things: water or ground, sky, and an object. You know? TYSM. I'm not real hip and happening on all the language things like that. You know, I'm a dinosaur with some of this. So anyway, but make it easy on yourself. Do it and like I said, hi Alexis. I am so glad to see you. I'm just thinking, if you don't have fabric paints. Oh, okay. Well, that was sweet, Laura. You're such a nice lady. So, if you don't have fabric paints, you don't have ink tints, think of crayons, think of regular colored pencils. Or find an unusual striated fabric or an ombre. Take an ombre fabric and add colors to it. If you could go in and add one color on top of another fabric. What I don't want you to do is get too fussy with it. Like Jody will tell you, she knows what it's like to use thousands of pieces of fabric to make something. But I want this easy peasy, okay? And if you don't have the right fabric, get something, paints, crayons, ink tints, and color it. And don't no big details. The ground. That's why I love things. The water, like calm water or whatever. The wheat field, just a nice brown, something different, unusual. Or the desert. With that cactus. But make it simple. Make it simple. And then just take a little piece of batting scrap if you have it, some kind of backing, and maybe do what I would do is outline quilt your focus. Okay? And then if you have water, do a few little quilting lines that show water. If you have a wheat field, do some quilting lines that make it look more like wheat. If it's desert, just do a few very shallow kind of wavy lines across. Just make it simple. Okay? And I think you could all try this. Oh, I have days I'm off. Oh my gosh, Laura, I have days I get in the car and it's like I've forgotten how to drive the car. It's like, come on, Deb, shape up. But I think sometimes if you wake up in the middle of the dream, you're a little off all day. There's certain little things that it's one of those days. So I understand, sweetheart. Don't forget, tomorrow is our Jitsi Sit and Stitch. And if you're a member of our group, go into the group tomorrow morning, somewhere between Eastern Time, 9 to 1. Go in our Groups IO and look, and they'll either Bonnie or Susan will have a posted link, and you just click on the link and click join, and it's free and easy. Tomorrow you'll be smart. I bet you will. I know some days I'm like, wow, you're pretty sharp today, and other days it's like I don't even want to know myself. But, y'all are so cute. So anyway, I hope that gives you a little idea. Oh, it's not a bruise. It is ink tints where I was coloring on the stone part. Because I thought, did I bruise myself? No, it'll come off. All right. So is there anything, and then after we do this, so we'll have this coming up Thursday and the next Thursday, and then I'm going to take a couple Thursdays off. I finally realized, Miss B over in England knew this, but I was burning the candle at both ends. All of a sudden in the middle got a little bit hot, and I realized I better drop this candle for just a bit so I can catch up with myself. But, thank you. Yes, thumbs up if you would, please. But we're going to have the next 2 Art Quilt Thursdays. Then I'll take about 2 off, and then we'll be back. Okay? And I'll let you know. I'll put out the dates when I have to look at a calendar and go, because we are going to hope at some point to go camping for a few days. And boy, I could use that. I could really use that. So I'm hoping the weather's going to cool off. Please stay safe. Get your vaccinations if you haven't. This stuff is serious, people. We're right back to where we were in January. That's scary. That is sad because we didn't have to be. So be careful. Any other questions? Anything else you'd like to say? Oh, Carol, it was so nice to see you. I hope that you will come back. When I've seen you here twice, I can send you an invitation to join our Groups IO. We have a very nice group. The only reason I like to see people twice is because we want to make sure that no one's a spammer or something, because we really do share our lives with each other. So it's a wonderful group. Make sure you come and enjoy and do something good for yourself. Laura, today tells you need a little time for yourself, darling. So anyway, everybody, take good care of yourself and find something that makes you happy and do it, even if it's only 10 minutes of meditating, whatever it takes. Do something special for yourself, because I tell you what, life can be stressful. Hetty is here from South Africa. Oh, thank you. Thank you, darling. We love our Hetty. So, oh, and for the people who were waiting for their prizes, like Diane 57, I finally mailed everybody's out except two. So please, in fact, Linda McCollum was one of the addresses I needed if she has my email. I just want to send her a couple little things that I made because she's such a dear. We love her to bits. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Miss Marcia. You're a wonderful group. And good luck with your stark images. Let's see how dramatic you can be. Like I say, you don't have to make it realistic. Have fun with it. Okay? All right, everybody. Take good care. You are the best. Thank you for being here tonight when I couldn't do it yesterday. That truth was just throbbing. I could not do it. But it's nice to spend time with you. You are the best. See you Thursday and Sunday. I'll be here for a live stream Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Take good care. See you tomorrow in Jitsi, I hope. Bye-bye.